Welcome everybody. This is probably going to be the last of our Northwest Passage Zoom get-togethers, I think, because you've all done it, haven't you? You're all zooming away in opposite directions at tremendous speed. We've got Graham joined us from Baffin Island, so he's gone through the Northwest Passage from the west, and everybody else is westbound, and you're all through the difficult bits. You've just got the long, hard throg to windward now. How's it going? Yeah, do you want to fill us in on where you are, what you've been up to, what's the weather like? You've had headwinds, I think, haven't you?
Yeah, we do have headwinds, and we just left Summer Harbor this morning, and we are bouncing into, I don't know, like an 8-foot swell here, and it's rather uncomfortable. But maybe another 2 hours or so, and we can turn a little bit more to the west, and so we can get some canvas out.
Very good. And when are you planning to be in Nome? You've got about 1,000 miles to go or thereabouts?
Approximately, yeah. Well,
closer to 1,300 now.
1,300, yeah.
200 in the Took, and then another 1,100, 1,050 into Nome.
So
yeah, but we are planning to stop over in Took, just to refuel, and I'd rather have the tanks full before we are going on the last stretch.
Yeah, sure, of course. So how was the Bellot Strait and how was Cambridge Bay? Tell us what you've been up to.
It was really nice to be in the company of a bunch of boats going through Bellot. Not only did we have Adriano and Nasachetta, but we had a Norwegian boat called Skydancer who has a lot of ice experience. And so we traveled in a group through Bellot. That was great, and ended up in Willis Bay where a lot of the other boats had been before us. Nice bay, good anchorage, and then we almost got closed into the bay by ice.
Oh, wow.
So fortunately, as a group, we ran out of there as quickly as possible and headed for Cambridge. And Cambridge was a quickie stop for us, less than 24 hours, and we were out of there. So we're on the run.
You're on the run. Fantastic. So just joined in was Randall, I think. I can't see his microphone at the moment, but Randall, can you hear us? Nothing heard from Randall at the moment. So we'll go around the table and get everybody to chip in. So can we go across to Keith and Alex? And I think that's half of Isaac, I think. On Abel Tasman. You're the back markers these days, is that right? You're behind the fleet now. You've been dawdling, taking too many photographs, and flying those parabots and doing too much diving and tourist things. Tell us what you've been up to.
And by the way, this is Isaac here, and this is Alex there. Yeah. We had similar route to what the others have done. So yeah, through Bellot to Willis Bay. We had one night Willis Bay, two nights in Willis Bay, and then cruised down. We were looking for the ice because we wanted to do some filming around the ice, and so we took the route going through where there's minimal ice, but then headed to the east towards King William Island to find some sea ice that we could then spend a whole day on. And we're doing some diving, flying, just wandering around the big sort of ice piece that we found. That was a lot of fun. And then we headed to Cambridge Bay. We ended up having 5 nights, I think, in Cambridge Bay. So met quite a few of the locals, went out to one of their huts, one of their cabins, and various other activities, including flying. So yeah, we committed. One of our team members left on Tuesday, one of our paragliders. So we wanted to wait until Tuesday for him to leave, and then so we departed on Tuesday evening. So that's why we're a bit behind, having spent 5 days in Cambridge Bay. But all's going well. We haven't had the advantage of some of the good winds that you guys had coming into, as you left Cambridge Bay. So we've been beating for the last days. So we're now in the middle of Amundsen Gulf, but going well.
Great. We've got a picture not of Randall. Yes, he's hiding behind something. There he is. Good
I'm
afternoon, Randall.
trying to find my headphones. I don't know what I've done with them.
It's great to see you, and you've
And
made
you-
a lot of progress since we last saw you. You're somewhere off Baffin as well, is that right, Randall?
No, we're in Pond Inlet.
Oh, right. Sorry, I got that wrong. Okay, yeah.
We're Pond Inlet heading actually tomorrow heading across Baffin to Greenland. So yeah, that's
Nice.
where we are.
So you're heading to where? To Asiat or to Upernavik? Where are you making for?
Disco. I suddenly can't remember the name. Godhaven, I believe. The little town on the south side.
Kekatarsuaq.
Adriano's Greenlandic translator.
That'll probably take,
God happen to the rest of us.
yeah, right. Got me right. That'll probably take 3 or 4 days to get there, and then we'll just head south from there. But yeah, doing pretty well. The weather from here to there over the next 4 days is not glorious, but can't always have everything. So we're headed out.
It's getting to that time of year, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it sure is. The whole nighttime with icebergs thing is kind of concentrates the mind.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you'll find plenty of icebergs in Disco, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Great. So, Graham, welcome again. You're first through the Northwest Passage because you've got a boat that goes like a steam train. Is that right? You're in a totally appropriate boat for the Northwest Passage. It's an open 60, isn't it?
It is an open 60. It's anyone's guess whether it was the appropriate boat, but this time it was.
Fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's a neat old boat. And so we are we're just coming into Kivatu, which is an old abandoned village. What are we? A little more than halfway down Baffin Island, probably. And we've had a glorious sail and sort of exploration down the east coast of Baffin. It's been it's just spectacularly beautiful. So we haven't given it the time that we would like to visit everywhere, but we're kind of worried about weather and trying to get south while seeing a few of the sites. So spending probably we'll do a night here, a night at Keek, and then jump off for Newfoundland, where we're going to overwinter in Newfoundland.
Where are you overwintering in Newfoundland? In St. John's or?
Royal Newfoundland Yacht Club has got a in the water spot for Dogbark, apparently. So
Right.
we'll see how
Really?
that goes.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, look at our
Yeah.
good friend Ted Laurentius, who is the OCC port officer in St. John's. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Victor put me in touch with him. He's been instrumental in sort of orchestrating everything. We're 60 feet long and deep, and they take masts off of boats there, and
They
our
do.
mast is what are we, 85 feet or something like that. So we're a bit of a problem to store, but they've decided they'll let us stay in the water.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they get worried about the ice forming on the spreaders and falling off and going through the deck, don't they? I think too much fog in the winter, I think, is the problem there. But fantastic. So you're going to stay aboard through the winter, Graham, or what are your plans?
My plan is to kind of come and go, actually. So we spent last winter in Sitka, and my job allows me to be somewhat flexible. So my hope is that I'll be able to come and go and experience the winter in Newfoundland as well as the spring. We'll see how it goes.
Fantastic. Very good. Adriano, you're up there.
Yes.
You're up there in the lead, I think, aren't you, or something? You're pretty.
Yeah, a little bit. Yes. We're heading
you're quite close to polar bound at the moment. David Scott Cowper.
We're close to Tok. We have about 60 nautical, where our crew will leave us and will fuel up, and we'll then basically go west and south as fast as we can. We plan to go rather far south because Marisa is from Vancouver, so we try to overwinter down there. and then in the spring meet friends and family around BC and enjoy the summer there, and also sail up to Alaska again.
Oh wow! So you're not even halfway yet, then.
Yeah, exactly. We have a huge plan in front of us, so we'll just go as long as weather permits. We're traveling.
Fantastic, very good. And Carol and Tim, you guys are pretty much neck and neck with Thor and Adriano, I think. Is that right, or just a bit ahead of Thor, perhaps?
Yeah, we're just behind Adriano, probably about 12 hours behind them, I guess. We went and had a nice little side trip to a place called Letty Harbour on the east side of what is it, Parry, from the Parry Peninsula. So we set off from there yesterday, and we've been fighting the headwinds like they have ever since. We probably should have stayed put, really.
I saw your photos of Letty Harbour. Do you mind if I use that as a cover picture for one of these talks?
Yeah, you can do what you like with it. Yeah. No, it's a super little place, and it needs some coverage because it's a great little harbour.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
And where are you aiming for, Tim? Where are you heading? Where are you going to overwinter? What's the plan?
We are intending to leave the boat in Seaward in Alaska.
Didn't catch again. So Sitka.
No, Seaward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seaboard.
And then come back next year and do the Alaska and BC coast and finish up Vancouver, Seattle, somewhere like that.
So similar sort of plan to go to Melissa on tour. Super.
Yeah, we'll be seeing them all, I think.
We'll be meeting everyone again next year.
Say again, Carol.
I says we'll be meeting everyone again next year.
Yeah. Yes,
hopefully, yeah, that'd be nice.
Fantastic. And Victor, your job is almost done, isn't it? Or are you keep an eye on these guys and the weather as they head out of the Arctic regions?
Well, we don't have to really worry about the ice to say, but still the weather is a main concern, you know. And with the westerly winds, for those heading to Alaska, that's a real concern. And and like from Tuktoyaktuk, there are not really many places to hide. Okay, and so that's a concern, and obviously you know, there is no summer harbor on the way over there now, and so once the Point Barrow is turned and everyone starts going south, that gets a little better picture. And there are some not so good, but at least some places it can be the boats can hide, and but that's a very last leg to Nome, and then it will be a big welcome to the storms of Bering Sea. Okay, because actually as of first magic number, 1st of September, the typical storm season start there. Okay, so you all have to expect that. Okay, sometimes, you know, particularly at the beginning, it will not be actually that much, but then later there are no hurricanes, but there are hurricanes winds. Okay, so that's no difference really. Okay, and it's very serious. Okay, so that's what I can actually say right now. Okay, and as those heading to the east, practically they're all finished. Okay, once you hit the Pond Inlet, for me, it's the end of the Northwest Passage. Okay, in the older days, all Baffin Bay, it was never considered a Northwest Passage. Okay, so, but then anyways, well, as Randall mentioned it to me, on the 1st of September, one Norwegian 43-footer schooner entered Northwest Passage for crossing. So that's some kind of mystery. Okay, so I checked it, I found the website, but there is nothing mentioned about that. The last date was 2008 or 2009 on their website. So maybe the boat was in the meantime going very extensive refit or something, and they decided, not even knowing anything, to start Northwest Passage. Or maybe they just want to go to Beachy Island to see the graves of late John Franklin crew and return. Okay, that could be possibility, and not doing really how Northwest Passage, because in another 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we should expect serious refreeze in the Northwest Passage. Okay, well, last year it was a little later. It was like getting to end of September, beginning of October. So, but that gives very little comfort to anyone.
So, Victor, are you in touch with Polar Bound? Because Polar Bound is left Summer Harbor and is now headed down to dip its toes below 66 degrees and then head straight back through to Scotland.
Well, let's put it this way. I used to have a relatively close contact with David, and in the recent years, he's been keeping it all to himself. And I was surprised that this year on the Facebook, his positions are being shown. Okay, that's the very first time ever happened during his 10 times crossings. Okay, and I remember when he first actually has done it in 1985 or 86, and he wintered for 2 winters in Bellot at Fort Ross. Okay, with his Mabel Lee Holland wooden ex-rescue boats. Okay, so that's a little story. So I don't really know his plans. At least he was planning to do this cruise for the charities, and or maybe he just wants to turn around and go back to England suddenly. Okay, so that could be a possibility. Okay, we'll see out of his tracking.
Well,
where is he now?
He just left with us. He was in Summer Harbor, and he just left as well.
Okay.
And I think one big problem is that he can't land on U.S. territory. He has got a visa problem. So he has to really go nonstop to the Arctic Circle and return back to Canada. Otherwise, he will have a real problem.
Well, he doesn't have to really stop at US. He can just go non-stop to Vancouver. Okay, if he really wants, but he has never done that before.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the thing. Then from Vancouver, so where, trolling along the west coast of US to Mexico and Panama, and just wait over there maybe 2-3 months for crossing. Well, we've heard about those stories.
Yeah.
So that's the way it goes, So I don't know his plans, and he is actually in recent years he became very secretive. So that's my findings.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Melissa, you're saying we may cross paths with him on this side?
I think so. That's what Night Owl was saying. Night Owl also left. Tom and Chris left Summer Harbor this morning, and they're sort of parallel to Polar Bound right now, traveling about the same speed.
Cool.
Yeah, towards Pond Barrow, and then just south and back up again.
Night Owl continues down to Homer.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Well, that would be double crossing actually for him. Okay, mind you, he's supposed to at least reach the Bering Strait, sorry, and return, because it doesn't count, just Point Barrow. Okay, but for charity you can do anything you want. Okay?
He's planning to do the proper thing. So it's it's just he's really pushing the envelope. We really hope that it will work out.
Yeah, well, last year Alaska coast was actually ice free till good mid of October. So if you just put the brake on his throttle and do his 15 knots that he can on his polar
wow.
bound, okay, he can actually make it back. Let's hope.
Yeah.
Can I come back to you, Randall? Where are you planning to? Are you going to overwinter, or are you still pressing on south down towards?
So we're not planning to overwinter this particular trip up
Right.
here. Morning for Disco Bay,
Yeah.
and then from there down to Nuuk, and from there to join Graham, or
Yep.
to push on further south. We'll see. Haven't decided. It kind of depends on what the how much time we can make and what the weather's like. But either Newfoundland or the Royal Nova Scotia Yacht Club area, that down in that area for the winter. There.
Great. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for hooking up tonight. It's great to see all those faces that have been hard at work over the last couple of months. A favour, if I may. I'm just putting together the series of webinars for the Ocean Cruising Club that will be in November. And I'd like to do a whole webinar on preparing boats for high latitude. And I can't imagine a better crowd of people to ask for help with that. I've already dropped a note to Melissa and Gert, because they could just build one. But it would be good to get a cross section of opinion if people were free and had some time. I can't remember the date that we've set aside for it, but it's towards the end of November, so you should all be tucked up in some tropical bed somewhere, or somewhere nice and pleasant by then. But it would be great to get as many of you as possible to participate in that webinar. But
we would love to tune in. We would probably sit next to our swimming pool by then. So
actually, we're gonna be on a boat on the Great Barrier Reef.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, we will be in Australia.
We'll be out on the reef in Australia. So we don't know if the boat has Starlink, but if it does,
He does. Yes,
okay.
we will be there.
We can call you with our bathing suits on.
Great, excellent. Well, that'd be fantastic. So yeah, so I'll maybe look for somebody else who's built a boat for the Arctic to lead it. Maybe Andy and Janice Fenimore White, who built their Vanderstat from aluminium cutouts. I think, has anybody else built their own boat here? You guys, Adriano and
well, no, a French company did this for us.
Yeah.
No,
So,
we just gave them the specs, and we obviously have ideas what worked well and what not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, happy to participate. We'll probably be skiing somewhere, so it will be cold. That may be suitable for the subject.
Well, I think that the Barrier Reef works quite well as well. But brilliant. Well, thank you very much for joining in, and hopefully we can catch up again in the end of November in the Barrier Reef or wherever.
Just send us a note a couple of days before, please. I mean, you know how it is when you're vacationing. You're not on the ball all the time.
So that's where you were working. That's where you had the rum runner, wasn't it? Gert?
I was working in the Great Barrier Reef for over 10 years on dive charter. I had a dive charter business. Yes.
Yeah, I think.
And I still have friends over there. So we just after this trip, we need a little bit of R&R.
Yes, indeed. I can imagine. Well,
I need to make up to Melissa.
You need to what?
I say I need to make up to Melissa.
So you can tell us the truth now, Melissa. How's it been?
As expected. As expected.
Great.
Very diplomatic.
Everybody's boats have been hanging out all right. They've all been no major problems, no mechanical issues. Everything going according to plan.
You're not going to get anybody to tell you the truth.
we do know Inities, one of the other boats have got engine problems. They've had to pull in, and they've got.
Yeah, they think they got a problem with their injector pump, I think. So we're waiting to hear from them. And then there's also the rowers. If anybody's heard about these guys that rowing, and they started from Cambridge Bay this year. And I had contact with them the other night when we were coming up. Where were we coming up?
somewhere.
up in Dolphin and Union, and they were there, and I knew they were there, and I Facebooked them, and they sent me a picture of the boat, but I couldn't see them. And since then, they've got caught in these westerlies. Their anchor broke. The boat is on the shore with a hole in it at the moment, and they are trying to sort something out.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Maybe Victor, I have something to share about Bellot Strait. When we went into Bellot Strait the second time, we had a French boat following us, Miam, and they stayed behind us, but they were a bit slower, and they asked us to stop and wait for them because they had problems. And we turned around and looked at them, and they were close to Magpie Rock, and the ice was very, very active, very strong currents, but in both directions, and the ice formed around them, and within seconds they started to spin around in the ice with the ice, and then got lifted up onto the ice and pushed to the side. So they had a orange underwater, so you could really see it well. The boat was completely on the side and just spinning with the ice. And then we went back to try to help them off the ice when it kind of just opened by itself. In the end, we didn't have to rescue them, but that went really, really fast. And it seems it was similar to what happened to the Alubat a little bit before. And I mean, it's an older type Garcia, and the boat got lifted up onto the ice like it was a toy.
Wow, gosh.
Wow.
Simon?
Yeah, go ahead, Randall.
I just for later, I have a question for the group for later, just to put an agenda point on the board.
Okay, no.
So they got damage on the side, but otherwise, and obviously a shock. They had a lovely young, like 9-year-old girl on the boat as well. And they were all a bit shocked. We went back to Fort Ross and spent the night and talked about it. They're all fine, but it was just impressive how fast that happened.
Well, things in the ballot, happen all of a sudden, and primarily when it's not really controlled. Okay, and I'm suspecting, the entry at that time was at the wrong time. Okay, because if the currents, well, obviously on the south shore of Bellot, the currents go both ways. So it's a current and a counter current. Okay, and the Magpie Rock is very, very. It's a vertical, very deep rock. Okay, and the water is just like in a kettle, boiling kettle. That is. Okay, so anyone going there should stay away, like from Abel. Okay.
Yeah, we were at the North Shore. We had a strong current with us. We made almost 9 knots towards the exit, so that went very well. But they somehow got caught in this.
Well, I've been under the impression that this boat have been actually neglecting all the dangers. Okay, so that's my personal impression. Okay, I cannot say anything else.
Ranzel, do you want to go ahead?
Right. May I?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I have a question for the group. I have taken about 100 gallons of fuel here in Pond Inlet, and when I was handed the receipt, the top of the receipt said that I had taken 100 gallons of heating fuel. And I'm suddenly unclear whether or not heating fuel and the diesel I need to burn in the engine are the same thing. And I just wanted to ask the group, for you guys have all been through it before. Please tell me I have the right fuel.
You have the right fuel.
Yay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
I have outboard oil for Jet A if I have to take that, but I've never been given heating fuel. My guess was it's all the same because they're not going to have all the different types of diesel. But now, how do you know this, Melissa?
We've been burning it.
Okay.
No, and the Deutsch 1030 has got high pressure injection pumps, like 6 separate pumps for every one for every cylinder, and the dealer told us that they're very, very finicky. So Jet A would be deadly immediately. So it's not Jet A, yeah.
No. I know it's not Jet A, but I just
Yeah.
it was kind of, you know, I asked the guy. I said, "What I want is what you're burning in the fuel truck," and he said, "Oh yeah, it's that, but it's different. It's a different cost." It's like, yeah. So yeah, I think my little engine could probably take Jet A, but I just wanted to check with you all, see what.
Yeah, but
I
what
know,
they mainly what they mainly sell is heating oil.
Right.
And heating oil is really very similar to standard diesel.
Okay.
I know in Switzerland it's the same. Diesel and heating oil, they just color it differently because there is a different import tax on it.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. That was my question. Appreciate it.
It should keep you warm anyway, Randall.
Right.
So Simon, on a non-technical matter, I just want to thank you for putting together these webinars, and just enormous thanks to Victor for sharing all of his wisdom.
Yeah.
Not only have the webinars been useful, but of course everything that bit of advice and knowledge that Victor shares has been critical to our success. But this group that get together on the webinars, plus the other boats that are non-OCC or not OCC yet, have been wonderful companions on the trip and have been very, very helpful along the way.
Oh, it's certainly been my pleasure. I'm sure it's been Victor's pleasure too. But I've actually, it's been a huge break for us because we've been down in the tropics, as you know, and we're starting to pine for the north again, I think. So we may well be following in your footsteps, but we might need to change our hull to aluminium. I'm not sure how we do that. Maybe some a steel coating. But Victor, do you want to say a few words?
Oh, well, I very much thank you for having me. Okay, nothing really else. Okay, I enjoyed it very much, and been doing this for so many years. And coming across all kinds of people, and this share was really exceptional. After Simon actually organized those Zoom meetings, and we've been able to see each other's faces, okay, and read them, okay, and so that's been fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. So thank you very much again for everybody who's dialed in, and everybody looks very warm there, apart from Randall, who looks suitably chilled out. Obviously, everybody's got their heated cabins. Go ahead, Randall. You want to say something?
I have another question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go on.
We're leaving tomorrow for. What was? We're starting to get dark here. Quite a number of hours. What was your experience? Those of you who've made the crossing, in terms of ice and icebergs and brash. What were you seeing? It was mostly big stuff, or were you seeing a lot of little stuff as well? What were you seeing along the way when you made it?
It was a complete mix, Randall. It was a complete mix. The tongue going in the middle of the sea, going to the north. That really shedded like icebergs, but growlers. But don't forget, the melting has happened for quite a few months now. So I really don't think that you will be experiencing anything like what we have on the crossing.
Well, it'll be better or it'll be worse. What are you trying to say?
It will be a lot better than, except if you are actually heading for Disco. As you know, Disco is shedding ice basically as soon as it can, right? Be very careful when you enter into there, right?
Sure.
It's but you know.
Yeah. Okay.
What we notice is that the icebergs move rather fast. That was actually noticeable.
Mm.
Yeah.
Randall, my 2 cents after whatever it is, 3-4 days on the Baffin coast. Don't come this way. There's a lot of ice, hundreds of icebergs. Yeah. So, and the nights are getting longer, and it's I like this. Not second guessing our strategy, but there is a lot of ice here right now. And maybe the other side is better.
Okay.
So
well, I
the-
know the big stuff is going to show up on a radar, at least the radar I have, but the brash and stuff like that won't. So I just was curious to know what
Yeah.
you experienced on the way over.
The
I
one-
had one
The-
today where it just came up right out of the seas here are 8 or 10 feet, just appeared right in front of me, and hard jibe to get around it. But
Yeah.
I would say all that stuff is, it's here. There's lots of brass, and we did not expect as much ice as we've seen on this.
Okay.
What I would say was just stay away from the leeward side of the big bergs, because
Yeah. Right.
lots of stuff
Yep.
coming off there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the small
one
falls go quicker than the icebergs themselves.
Yep.
They're more effective.
Yeah. Part of the reason I ask is the weather forecast currently calls for, near gale force winds on the last day going in toward Disco, which I think could get a little interesting.
Oh, that will be very interesting. Yeah.
So the one disturbing thing we had was 12 hours out of Pond, we came upon a large ship that had no AIS on it and no running lights.
Yeah.
And maybe he had no running lights because it was still daylight at nighttime, but he had no AIS either.
That was really strange.
It was
yeah.
very, very strange. He looked like a bit of an iceberg, we thought, and then because it was very, very, very foggy. And
Wow.
then when we got close to, we saw it wasn't an iceberg. It was a ship that was headed straight toward us.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we hailed him, and he's was very uncommunicative.
Wow.
Well, they-
Oh, well, I may know who it was. Okay. Okay. Because I'm really suspecting, well, that ship was it heading west?
No, it was basically just drifting. It didn't make way.
Or
Maybe
drifting,
a,
huh?
yeah,
Oh,
maybe a
that's-
little bit east. Yeah.
That's maybe mystery, okay? Because I know one of the Sea Shepherd. You probably know that organization,
Yeah,
or that
yeah.
foundation, okay? And it's been heading for Japan, and it's a big chief of ship, and Paul Watson, probably you've heard that name, okay? He hasn't been really on board of that ship now. Okay, so he tried to sneak through Northwest Passage, invisible, to start with. Okay, so this is what I'm only suspecting. Okay, that it could be. Okay, because otherwise there's no reason of not having a position lights. Okay, and sail like that. Okay, so primarily when we hardly you will meet anyone. Okay, but on the other hand, okay, if you don't expect anyone to meet, okay, and all of a sudden somebody shows up. Okay, there was a case 2 years ago. One Canadian sailboat in Franklin Strait was heading east, and they just about collided with another one, Polish flag, and they didn't even reply on the radio. Okay, and they had no lights. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so that's the very first case I ever heard of. Okay, so that's my impression with that ship. Okay, so it's probably actually its actual name is a vigilant.
The vigilant.
You have to be vigilant. Brilliant. Has anybody else got anything they want to come back with?
Yeah, I would just say that I'm sorry we didn't join the OCC earlier.
Well, you got there in the end. Too.
We got there in the end. I'm a bit disappointed that they didn't send the pennant to us. It's somewhere in England.
Oh well, there you go. Get knitting. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So we'll wind up there, if I may. But thank you very much again. Hope to catch up with some of you in November for high latitude seminar, webinar, whatever. And I'll sign off if I may. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank
all
you,
the best
Victor.
to
Thank
all
you,
of you.
Simon.
I love you all.
Bye,
Bye. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Hey, Graham, can you stay on? Graham, can you stay
You
on?
bet. Sure.
Sorry, I just have a quick question for Graham. Can you go back to what you were saying about Newfoundland and the situation there at the Royal Yacht Club?
Yeah. So Kathy, long story short, Victor hooked me up with Ted, who hooked us up with Kathy, and their plan for us is to keep us in the water. Starting, I think we're going to be there by mid-September, something like that, and we'll just be there until I'll be coming and going, basically.
Are they doing that because they can't haul a boat your size?
I think hauling us is, I think they can, we're 17 tons. We're not a heavy boat. But I think that the challenge is jack stands, and they've talked about digging a hole, putting our keel down a bit.
Oh, wow.
But ultimately they decided that keeping us in the water is the way to go. So,
Wow. Okay.
we can, we're certainly willing to give it a try.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
They have a relatively small travel lift there, Randall. I remember it broke when we were there, and somebody was badly injured by it.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I think they would be constrained by the draft for Graham.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I definitely want
they would haul you out. They would haul you out fine, but they would insist on taking your mast out, I think.
Yes,
Really?
they did say that. Yeah.
Okay.
But Ted Laurentius, our port officer in Newfoundland,
I know him. Yeah.
incredibly helpful guy.
Okay.
So any
I'll reach
questions?
out.
Get in touch
Is
with
it
us.
the same? Is it the same down in the Halifax area that if I haul, they're going to want to take the mast out there as well?
No, we left our mast up in the Halifax area, so it's just a St John's thing. We hauled out in Lewisport and left our mast up, but they don't get the same fog there, so they worry less about ice in the rigging. Whereas Newfoundland, of course, gets foggy, cold, and ice forms up there. And I think they had the odd instance where a giant icicle's gone through the deck when it's broken off a spreader or something like that.
Wow. Okay.
And they also get pretty savage winds. So it's about 2 years ago they had winds that took out the whole breakwater for the.
I know. Yeah. So yeah. It's a dicey spot. Okay. Very cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. I'll close it down then. Good night. Good night, everybody.
Okay. Good night. Good night.
Cheers. Thanks again. Yep. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, Graham. Nice to see you.
Yep.
Have a safe trip south, you guys. When those winds start blowing from the south, it's not that much fun, and there's a lot of ice down that coastal Labrador all the way. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.